Boom. Here we go. Boom, 260 is on. That is the first goal of the off-season ticked off, and goal number 2 when it comes to my competitive goals. So, good morning. I will touch on this a little bit more, but it's time to get the day started. Let's go. Right, proper intro for today. It's a glorious day today. 260 has been ticked off. I've set out some off-season goals for myself with the personal life, with business, with relationships, and more importantly, with what fuels my entire being, which is bodybuilding. So, the bodybuilding goal of ticking off certain body weights and performance goals are very much getting ticked off step by step. First step was 250 with glutes in. That was ticked off. 260 with glutes boxed off, not quite as in, but still pretty lean. Very much ticked off, in much better condition than I anticipated. So it's a great day. It really is. The rate of gain has been moving at a perfect pace. Appetite's still fantastic. Sleep is amazing. I will show you with a number that I've hit on Aura Ring today, and it's probably going to make a lot of you jealous, but I hit 94 today, and generally on average I'm like hitting higher 280s. 280s? I wish. Higher 80s. Which is pretty damn good for the off season. So, today's plan of action. I'm going to take you along for the day, show you the food, show you the training. Got leg day to get done today. It's a compact session, but it's a very hard one. And I will give you some of my thoughts and reasons why the session layout is the way it is, pardon me, and give you some insight to that. Now, I've already done my big power hour for the morning with client work, so time to get my morning walk done, and then time for meal number 1. Meal number 1 goes in at latest 7:30 every single day to make sure I can get meals in nice and early, keep my meal timing on point, keep the stomach fresh and empty. So let's get it, guys. Win the day, as Hunter would say. Let's strap in and let's smash it. Now, if you don't know, now I'm telling you to know, please like, please subscribe, follow the channel, show me some love. I'll get you more content. Let's get it. Right, so we are getting food ready. My 300 grams of raw weight rice in there. Then what I do is I divide this by 30, and then I get measurements of 10 grams. Then if I need 140 grams, I times it by 14. Super simple. So that's my rice for an entire day. No gram wasted. Right, 7:20, and we are ready for his breakfast. So I'm going to show you what I'm having, and then Meg's breakfast getting marinated and ready. So I'll show you her breakfast as well, because again, Master Chef is on. I do the breakfast in this household. I do the fancy cooking. I do the nice cooking. Anyway, food time, guys. Boom. So we've got sauce measured out. We've got some, I think it's Cholula. Might not be Cholula. I'll check. Anyway, 3 whole eggs, 125 venison, 140 rice. We've got 100 grams of veg underneath somewhere, and then we've got 150 blueberries as well. And then Meg's breakfast is getting marinated here. We've got French toast, eggs, egg whites. Right, my guys and girls, so we've got my pre and intra-workout supplementation. We've got 20 grams of MPS Max, small bottle, 50 grams of performance fuel, 5 grams of pumpage in the big bottle, and we've got 20 grams of pumpage in the Train by JP bottle. Now, I do also have 5 grams of glutamine and creatine, both in my intra and my pre. So that is the current stack. You can get it from tradebyjp.com and you can use my code Kuba10 for some discount. Boom. Now, two of probably one of the most essential supplements that you can take: glutamine and creatine. Creatine has got endless benefits when it comes to training performance, but also amazing benefits when it comes to cognitive function, which is the main reason why I use it first thing in the morning. Glutamine not only aids in hydration, but improves gut health directly. So it's an amazing tool for keeping your gut in a good healthy spot. So 5 grams of each morning and midday is non-negotiable for me, always. Right, that is the work block completed. As you can see in the background, we've got my water, we've got my Big Mac. Now, this little beauty I'm going to show you that I use for my work blocks. Some of you that are familiar with the channel have already seen this. Some of you that are not, this is what I use. And generally, when this comes on, the only thing that exists is my clients, my work phone, and my Mac. I do not touch my private phone. I do not go on social media. Actually, and that's something I've done for some time now, I do not go on any of the social media until midday. So any of you that follow me on Instagram probably will have noticed that I don't actually post anything until around 12 o'clock and some days even 1 p.m. And that is non-negotiable for me, because one thing I have found in past is that scrolling through Instagram, especially mid-work, it's just brain numbing. Not only takes away from my focus for work, but it leads to just more procrastination and wasting time. My time frame for my work, my clients, is pretty firm. And it's the time frame that I need my full focus with no distractions. So avoiding anything that detracts your focus from your task at hand is always going to lead to better results long term. So something to note, guys, especially some of you that struggle with procrastination or struggle with being effective with your job. Something that I would implement is a timer and just being firm with your actions and how you commit to your day. Now, I love my little office. That is my work environment. I generally do my lectures here. I do all my work here. And that is not the place where I relax or eat my food. That is the place where I come in and I switch it on and get my work done. So as you can imagine, it's almost like you are putting yourself into not only an environment that is designed and structured for certain tasks. That's always going to make you more efficient, because when I'm sat in this chair, I know it's go time. So it definitely leads to better results long term. Food for thought. Create an environment that promotes effectiveness. Right, here we go. We have got my pre-workout meal, which is cream of rice. And this has actually just been in the air fryer. So generally what I do, take this out and then I pop the cream of rice in there for about 8 minutes, and it really gives it a crisp finish. So what we have here is 110 grams of cream of rice, 50 grams of rice with 50 grams of whey, and then we've got 35 grams of ISO Pro on top, 100 grams of banana, 15 grams of raisins, 100 grams of pineapple. And that is the pre-workout meal. And to be honest, I do make this quite low volume, so it's a lot of carbohydrates for a very small meal, which is ideal for my pre-workout meal. And it's a funny one because I always feel like I'm cheating if I have whey more than twice per day. So my limit for whey is 2 times per day, and then 4 meals coming from full whole food sources. So I currently have whey before bed and pre-workout. That's always the way to go for me. Now, next pre-workout meal is chicken, rice, veg, seasoned by myself, and we are going to put her a little bit more dash on top, which is no added salt seasoning, and is tremendous. So this will go on top of this, and then we have got salt to add to my pre-workout meal, and then Meg will add her salt on top of hers as well. So plenty of salt before training always. Remember, hydration is not just about water. Hydration is about your sodium intake as well. So extra salt in the pre-meal, always. And I may even add just a little bit more cinnamon when I find it. There we go. Just a little bit more cinnamon on top. And voila, we are ready for the pre-workout meal goodness. So I will eat this, then I will get some bits ready for tomorrow, and then it's time to go to the gym. Now, one thing I thought to talk about was my meal number 2 that you got to see a picture of, because I had a very busy morning, which unfortunately led me to slipping on the filming, so I do apologise. But anyway, 200 grams of venison that I do have minced. It's the venison steaks, so extremely low fat, and I do have it minced into like little burger patties. The main reason why, I find that it digests much easier, and I can literally pop it in an air fryer for 7 minutes and it comes out perfect medium rare. So it's exactly what I need for digestibility, but also ease of eating as well. So 200 grams of venison, 400 grams of potato, 50 grams of rice, 100 grams of veg, and 100 grams of pineapple to go with that meal. I generally have that meal around 9:45 after work block number 1. Then I eat that meal, get some more bits ready around the kitchen, head back upstairs, get more work done, and then I generally try and squeeze a nap in, or at least lay down for 20 minutes, eyes closed, no mobile phones. Whether I nap or not, again, if I do nap, it's a bonus. If I don't, it's still a bonus because I allow myself to mentally decompress after a very intense morning of work. So highly advise that, guys. I really do. If you want to optimize your mental and physical performance. So I kind of want to show this, why I have it air fried. It means a crusty top. So all this is just a perfect crust. Which again, preference, right? If you can make your meals taste a little bit better, it's always a bonus. So this is crusty on the top and then nice and moist in the side. So it's like a custard cream of rice cake. Right, gym time. If you're wondering why I've got my headphones on, it's just because I'm using them as a speaker, as I forgot the little microphone. So I want to make sure you all have clear audio for today's session. So today's session structure, it's a very, very compacted session for a good reason, because with our leg training every 5 days, having 6 working sets for hamstrings and 6 working sets for quads, it certainly adds up, right? And with the way we train, the frequency of hitting that every 5 days, my legs are pretty destroyed. So one thing I've noticed is I needed to shift my loading a little bit to make sure that I could recover session to session, which meant that today's session needed a shift where every exercise I do for quads predominantly loads mid to shortened range. So it simply means that the machines I'm going to be using are heavier when I am getting into the shortened range. So when we are extending for the knee, when we are completing the rep, that's when the load gets heavier, and it does drop off somewhat as you come to the stretch. Machines and exercises that load the stretch are arguably the most beneficial when it comes to growth, but they are also the most damaging. Now, how much more beneficial when it comes to growth are they? I think that's yet to be proven amongst the academic world with the studies. I really don't think that it plays that much of a role and that much of a difference. I think your priority is always effort and execution. If you can really nail down your execution and sprinkle effort on top of this, I really don't think you need to overthink resistance profile too much. I just think it's a great tool to have, to utilize when it comes to your ability to keep progression coming, because it will be a little bit stickier to try and progress these lifts. But when you program them like I do, it certainly makes sense, because then every session complements one another. So today's session, 4 sets of hamstring curls, followed by 3 sets of quad extensions, 3 sets of leg press, 2 sets of RDL. And today's RDL will be barbell pulling off the floor. Again, more range of motion and forcing us to use a little bit less load than I would normally pull in blocks, just to make sure that execution stays on point and we can fire up the hamstrings and glutes, and indirectly train the erectors as well, because I do not have any bent over work that does directly train erectors in my pull days. So today is a bonus. I get quality hamstrings and glute stimulus, as well as additional erector work, which definitely adds to a complete physique from the back when you are hitting these shots and you've got juicy lower back meaning your erectors right at the bottom, coming from your glutes upwards. And I do think my erectors have come on a ton, having hip hinges in or variations of every 5 days. The biggest factor for me is making sure I do not just chase loading and I stay super accurate with it. So today's session on paper doesn't look like much, but it is a very demanding session, especially the rep ranges that I'm working at. You'll see that it is slightly higher, especially the leg extensions. And this is where I always say, taking your leg extensions to all-out failure is by far one of the most painful movements you can ever do. So you need to just strap in and you really need to focus. So what is my current pre-workout ritual? It's the same before every single session. Making sure that I'm hydrated is key. Making sure I'm well fed. My pre-workout meal goes in at the same time. My pre-workout drink, which was pumpage with creatine and glutamine, goes in at the same time. I make sure that I spend the last hour at least having that focus on my training and nothing else. So it means that I need to be organised with my work to make sure I can finish on time, and then have that clear divide between training and work, and obviously clients. And this allows me to be even more efficient with my client work, and it does allow me to be a little bit more giving when the time is there, rather than try and do everything at once. So when I get in the car, I do not play any hardcore music. I generally like to sit in silence or speak to Meg on the way down. But that is my 20 minutes. That drive to the gym is my 20 minutes to really think about what I'm going to do. Go over the session in my head and kind of visualize what my performance is going to be like. And this definitely allows me to not only have greater focus in the gym, but if I was to play heavy music before going to the gym, I often would get there and I would already be quite exhausted from revving myself up in the car. And one thing I've noticed as well is I tend to keep away from anything heavy when it comes to music, because for me, if I do really switch it on hard and heavy, I will literally blow my entire load, quite literally, in that one single set, and then my ability to perform slowly declines there after that. And ultimately, if your goal is not just doing that single lift, that one rep, you need to have sustainability and progression. So for me, calm and focused aggression is always the right way to go. And to do that, I need the right headspace, and I need just enough input from either music that will allow me to do that, or simply silence. And very often I actually opt for silence. So when you see me in the gym, 8 times out of 10, I will have headphones on. There actually won't be anything playing. I'll just have noise cancellation on, and I can just tune in and focus on task at hand. So if you are wanting an insight into how to get the most out of your workouts, nail down your day today, stay hydrated, make sure you're well fed, make sure you had adequate sleep, and go in the gym, smash your sessions. It really is that simple. And it sounds simple, but trying to get people to do this in practice is always much harder work, right? Because the simple things are often the hardest, and this is where people look for the magic pill or the magic supplement or magic pre-workout meal. And really is super simple. It just comes down to consistency, managing your day well, and being effective. Write that one down. Leg day, let's get it. So the long technique, you know, so working sets done, single leg, then 2 working sets and line leg done. Now, normally I do all 4 working sets here, and I will do it over time, but right now, I do have a little bit of discrepancy between left hamstring and right hamstring. So once that's tying down over the next 4 to 5 weeks, or over this training block, that's where I'm going to revert back to just doing 4 sets here for efficiency's sake. And again, I do think having similar lateral work in some cases helps a lot. Mark, for example, one of his legs is small viewer, so we do have to have extra volume for his leg to bring it into the leg, so to speak. But again, context is key. Everyone needs it, you may not need it. Now, these are the tricks to this. I have to 31, I'm very familiar with this exercise. Very familiar with this exercise, so I do not need to waste time or energy doing any of these sets. It's an isolation exercise, it's not risky. It's only going to target the hamstring, so it doesn't require as much preparation for the working set. Had to put you in a better position. It's got in a little bit more so. It feels better with the pad as on top of it. Exercise forces you to go here. So when you aim to build loading on this, you need to take time. You back it up, you walk with the same intent as you do working set. Guys, so that was my warm-up set, which is the last warm-up set with 4 plates, and then straight to working set, 4.5. Now, don't forget these bad boys, hard by lifting straps called Kuba, yours, essential for any heavy back work or heavy pulling. Now, the last warm-up set there was simply a rehearsal. It's just as significant and just as important as actual working set, because that is the final practice before the big game, right? So it needs to be nailed, and it needs to be treated with the same respect and intent as actual working set. That's inevitably what leads to success in the world of big working sets. Now, with the pulse, one thing I realised over the years is you have to be specific how I approach them, because if I let my execution slip and if I let my form break down, not only am I not able to progress it quite as well over time, but I also get much less quality from them. So that was a 5 rep up. It's the lowest I'll ever go, and generally my rep range goes higher across 99% of the lift. That's 1%. So the only lift where I will always keep rep range 5 to 8 is the kick fingers, because it is a movement that's quite complex, and I do feel like I get a lot more out of more controlled low rep work. Right, time for my post-workout meal, which is 300 grams of prawns, 10 grams of sweet pappy sauce, and then we have 160 grams of Trained by JP cream of rice. We've got vanilla today, which is an amazing flavour, 150 blueberries, and 10 grams of raisins. So that was a monster of a session, to be honest, but progression across the board, which is amazing, but definitely a tough one in the books. Definitely happy with the performance though. So again, leaving the gym on a high is always great. Now I'm going to hide away in my podcast studio, nice and quiet. I'm doing my post-workout meal, let myself decompress a little bit, let my heart rate drop back down, and then eat. Now, I didn't film my calves because ain't nobody interested in me filming calves. So, recap of the session: 4 sets of hamstring curls, 3 sets of leg extensions, 3 sets of leg press, 2 sets of barbell RDL, pulling off the floor, and 2 sets of calves. And that is all she wrote. a little bit of spinal decompression on that pull down after, and post-workout meal going down now. And then I'll show you meal number 5 and meal number 6. Now, as soon as I get home today, I will put my recovery boots on just to make sure that my quads are a little bit less perma-fucked, because right now my quads are suffering badly. But as long as I can progress my lifts, as long as I can grow and improve and progress, we'll keep it rolling, right? See you on the other side. Right, time for my Epsom salt bath. The Epsom salt's here. The bath is getting filled up. So I'm going to sink in this for 10-15 minutes, and then it's meal 5 time. I always have an Epsom salt bath after training, or sometimes even a sauna. It just depends. Sauna is always done on rest day, but if I do have a heavier session, it's always a red hot bath with Epsom salts before meal 5. Blue light blockers from our optics, Kuba 10 free discount. I always put them on 2 hours before bed. Allows me to get into much deeper and much better sleep. And I'll even show you, I've been hitting 94 yesterday on the Aura ring. Anyone who's got an Aura, you know how hard that is to hit, so we're on. Right, I'm going to hop in the bath and then I'll show you meal 5. And then I'll probably get some maybe chill time with Meg on the sofa with a cubby boots on. So, living the life, right? Now, I've just spent another hour of client work done. I did some in the podcast room, then I did some in the car on the way back, and now in the office. So it's currently 10 to 6. So I've got 15 minutes now to get in the bath and then eat meal 5 that Meg will kindly put in the pan. So half eaten. Meal number 5, we've got 100 grams of white salmon, 100 grams of chicken, we have 60 grams of rice, 100 grams of veggies, 50 grams of pineapple. Now, very ready for this meal, not gonna lie, so I rushed into it a little bit, so I do apologise, but that is how it presents. We do have 10 grams of sauce on it as well. The sauces that I use are generally like 5 calories per 15 grams, so I can allow myself 15 grams of calories, 15 calories per day from sauces. Now, podcast time, as Jay Cutler has got Ronnie Coleman on his podcast, and that's just incredible. So I'm going to take this, then I will put my recovery boots on, chill, watch this, and I'll probably watch something else as well. Maybe Brassic, or, yeah, Brassic? Yeah, Brassic. It's really good. We'll show you. What's up, guys? Big news. Sebum is doing Proud Show. So we're just listening to Flash for listening. Now, last meal, 30 grams of Whey Iso Pro. We've got chocolate fudge for tonight, called Kuba 10. You know the drill. Now we have got 300 grams of Greek yogurt, 25 grams of avocado, 10 grams of almond butter, 200 grams of berries, and 75 grams of cream of rice. I'm just going to top this with my whey paste. And then it's time to eat the last meal. And get an early night as always. I'll bet you a shaker cup. Mickey's workshop. You guys heard it here first. If Chris wins, I will send Mickey's workshop a free shaker cup. Beautiful. Guys, peace out for tonight. See you on the other side. Like, share, subscribe. See you guys soon.